Good evening. We'll wait for a couple minutes to get started here as we wait for people to join the public meeting for the Geyer Road Phase 2 project. Just want to let people know if there are issues with if you're having trouble hearing us or want to make any comment, please raise your click on the button that says raise hand to make a formal comment for the project. We'll go over how to do that in the presentation. Start in a few minute or two here, but wanted to let people know that we are waiting a minute or two to let people in. This is the Geyer Road Resurfacing Phase 2 project for a public meeting. This is our virtual public meeting that we have today. We will have an in-person public meeting that we can go over specific plans and look over plans at the community center, and that is tomorrow from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. in room 201. All right, we will get started with this public meeting since it's a little after 6. My name is Chris Kruger. I'm the city engineer for the city of Kirkwood. This is the virtual public open house meeting for the Geyer Road Resurfacing project. The project spans from Adams Avenue down to Big Bend. We'll go into specific improvements that we've included in the project. And I will basically this meeting is to kick off the public comment period. We'll have it's approximately about a month we'll be getting comments, and just want to say that we're kicking off the public comment period, and we'll go over that with the presentation. But I will hand things over to John Keevan to go over a little presentation and then go through the plans. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. My name is John Keevan. I'm with Crawford Murphy and Tilley. We're the engineering consultant for the city of Kirkwood on the Geyer Road project. Along with me is my coworker, Cassie McKee, on this presentation. So we'll go ahead and get things started. Kind of go over the open house meeting outline. We'll go through the project limits, the proposed project elements. Then we'll go through the limits of the project and kind of a detail of the proposed plan sheets. And then, as Chris alluded to, we'll talk about how to make comments for the project. So the project limits are from West Adams on the north side to Big Bend, just north of Big Bend on the south side. That goes through, major streets like Argonne, Woodbine, and Rose Hill, and then of course the Union Pacific Railroad. Just going through some of the proposed project elements. New ADA compliant curb ramps and landings at the street intersections located between West Adams and Big Bend, where we're going to do a milling of the road surface for a new asphalt overlay, improved pavement marking throughout the corridor, improvements at the Union Pacific Railroad, brand new signals at Argonne. The existing ones will be removed with new signals installed, improvements at multiple crosswalks throughout the corridor, radius improvements for pedestrian safety, and a dedicated bicycle lane for southbound and a shared bicycle lane for northbound. There will be temporary construction easements as indicated on the plans, and we will need some permanent easements as indicated on the plans, and also removal improvements as indicated on the plans. Go through some of the proposed plan sheets here. I'll just kind of zoom through and go through the whole corridor. This is on the north side. North of Adams was the Geyer Road Phase 1 that was recently completed. So this starts just south of that. Beginning our mill and overlay and working our way to south. The first improvement is located near Jefferson Avenue. Where you're going to have a new crosswalk here, a bump out, shortening the crosswalk distance, and a rectangular rapid flashing beacon located here. We're also doing enhanced crosswalk marking throughout the corridor with continental crosswalks that I'll show a view of one of those at the end here. But brand new curb ramps and landings, ADA compliant. Working our way south, still the mill and overlay. The next intersection is at Argonne Drive. As mentioned earlier, brand new signals here that will be operational with, red, yellow, green instead of the way they are now. We are getting rid of this existing geometric flare, and that will also shorten the crossing distance for the pedestrians. And moving south, mill and overlay still, and then the next one is Adams Avenue, curb ramp, ADA improvements there. Moving south again, at Monroe Avenue. Bump outs proposed here, shortening the distance for the crosswalks. And then at all 4 quadrants, brand new ADA compliant landings and curb ramps. South again. As improvements at the Union Pacific Railroad, a new ADA compliant crossing at all 4 quadrants with bump outs that kind of control the movement of the traffic better. And then we are eliminating that big hump or bump right there before the railroad tracks. And then at Monroe Place, tying in the sidewalk continuously.
Hey, John, on this one, I'll add a little bit to this. We had quite an extensive timeline with the railroad to get their approval on this. As you can see, the sidewalks are pushed to the outside of that crossing gate, and they feel that that's the safest pedestrian movement to separate that sidewalk from the traveled lane from the lanes of traffic. And so it does require us to extend the railroad panels out, and we're working with the railroad to get that done. But we have received preliminary approval from the railroad at this time.
Yep. Thanks, Chris. So moving south of the railroad tracks, a little bit of a ADA improvement here at the driveway, and then at Nurk Avenue, we are providing a bump out here to shorten that crosswalk distance, and then the ADA compliant curb ramps and landings on the west side. Next street over, getting rid of the flare there, kind of shortening that distance. And then getting into the Woodbine Avenue intersection, kind of reconfiguring this a little bit, same in and out access here. We are providing a new median here that works in eliminating this kind of a right turn there. And then also all the other quadrants, upgrading with the ADA compliant landings and curb ramps there. And also wrapping around here and connecting to the existing sidewalk that goes down Herbert Drive. Moving south still. Mill and overlay, Rosewood, just upgrading the intersection here for ADA compliance, landings and curb ramps. Same thing here at Woodard Drive, curb ramps and landings. At Lee Avenue, bump out here on both sides, and then upgraded curb ramps and landings here. Same thing with McLean Lane, ADA compliance. At Rose Hill, all 4 quadrants upgraded with ADA compliance landing curb ramps. Same thing here at Rolling Wood. Here at Ashwood Lane. And then finally ending the mill and overlay just north of the Big Bend intersection here. Chris, you got any more comments on the sheets or anything?
I do not.
All right, as Chris mentioned, for comments, you can send in written comments with the comment form through the city's website, which is kirkwoodmo.org/projects. There's a link to a comment form on there. It could be emailed or mailed or dropped off. And then also a reminder, the in-person public open house is tomorrow from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Kirkwood Community Center and room 201. Those plan sheets that we went through will be on boards on easels to go through. That concludes what we have.
Someone has their hand raised, so I'm going to allow them to talk if that's okay.
You may do so.
Hi, good evening. I have a question regarding the intersection at Monroe and the train tracks. I think that was on slide 3 of the street.
There you go.
That one, yeah.
Yep.
Where you have the sidewalk going behind the signal, it looks like you've extended out the curb there to where it goes out into the intersection a little further. Right
Yes.
there, yes. With the existing median that is right there, it's going to make it very difficult to make any turns as it's going to be extremely narrow. Is that median going to remain there?
You talk about the center median here?
Yeah, there's a center median on both sides of the tracks, which
Right.
the railroad did require in
Yeah.
order for Kirkwood to retain a quiet zone status, but trains quite often roll through that intersection blaring their horn, and it's not Amtrak. These are freight trains. So that median is a sore in every resident's side because you can't make a left out of your street anymore. It was also used by emergency vehicles, fire trucks, especially when there would be a train going by and they needed to get north on or to get south on Geyer. That completely blocked that ability. So if you're going to narrow the intersection even further, wouldn't that meet the railroad requirement for trying to prevent people from circumventing the gates, which is the whole reason they put the median up in the first place. So shouldn't you need one or the other, not both?
So the gate, the gate only goes across one lane of traffic. It does not cover both northbound and southbound traffic.
It goes a little bit further than one, but it does not cover both. That is correct. It covers about 1 1/4, so that it wouldn't be easy. It's still not easy to circumvent the tracks with or without the median.
What I would suggest, can you state your name and address?
Yeah, this is John Gassel. I live at 418 Monroe.
Okay,
I've lived here for 25 plus years.
thanks, John. What I would suggest you do is fill out a comment card on this, and we can have discussions with this to further investigate what you're asking.
Sure, can do. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to say something, this is a right only, so this kind of bump out kind of defines that more than what it is now. Kind of defines that one lane going through. And also I was going to show, I meant to show this, but this is kind of the pavement marking. We were talking about the enhanced crosswalks with the ladder kind of continental marking that's very visible, and then the dedicated bike lane here for southbound, and then the shared lane here for northbound bicycles.
I also do want to note the spacing of those bicycle marking signs, and compared to phase 1, we have increased the distance of those on phase 2.
Okay, I'm gonna allow someone else to talk. Should be able to.
You appear to be muted.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Okay. Hi, Chris. This is David Eagleton. I want to
Hi,
thank
David.
John.
How are
I
you?
want to thank you, John, and Cassie for putting this all together. It's done a really nice job. I've got some questions. So, Chris, you know, safe transportation for every person's step, right? You know, the 7 elements. And
Yes,
John,
sir.
I assume, and Cassie, are you aware of STEP?
Yeah.
So there's some elements I think that could enhance a number of these crosswalks. And I'll just mention, one of them is lighting. I think that we could really make an improvement with enhanced lighting on these crosswalks. You know, you've got a number of them, and there's a lot of pedestrian traffic going into the park at all hours, and rightfully so. It's a beautiful park.
Mhm.
And I would ask that we look at the specs. They've got new specs from STEP that actually, where the lights shine across the street, and I think that would really help. That's number one.
David, is that in conjunction with an RRFB?
Is that what?
Would that be the lighting mounted on the RRFB?
I don't know. I'm not gonna. I don't know, but I can get you the information, Chris. I can get it. Secondly, there's a number of crossings that I think a raised crosswalk would be beneficial. We presently have 2 intersections that are raised crosswalks in the city, and I want to applaud the city. I want to applaud Chris. I think they've made a huge difference. They're an asset, and it's all about safety. And we have an opportunity on Geyer, and I'll go back to what I said previously. there's a lot of pedestrian traffic that comes from all over Kirkwood that walks and bicycles into Kirkwood Park. And it would behoove ourselves to utilize raised crosswalks. We've utilized raised intersections, and they've been a great asset. And there's no reason we couldn't utilize some raised crosswalks going into the park. We got, at Adams and Geyer, I think that you have a great opportunity. These are all elements of the STEP program, which has been designed by the Federal Highway Administration, and they're using them all over the country, and they're improving safety. The bump outs that you guys are using, one, I want to applaud you for using the bump outs, and I want to know if we can use them on some of these additional intersections. Is that, because to me, if we're using bump outs on one intersection, why wouldn't you use on every intersection? Because we know the whole purpose of a bump out is to improve the safety for a pedestrian, to decrease the distance that a pedestrian has to cross the street. And obviously it's going to slow down the cars too. So, but I guess ultimately I want to thank you guys. And I think we have a great opportunity to make this a really pedestrian friendly avenue. I won't call the street, because and the number of people coming and going from that park keeps getting higher and higher every day. You know that, Chris. You guys probably do counts, don't you?
Yes.
So, well, thank you, John, Cassie, and Chris. Okay.
Thank you for your comments.
Thanks for the comments, David.
Are there more hands raised?
Yes, one more, actually two more, so letting Michael talk now.
When you're ready, Michael, state your full name and where you live.
I've allowed him to talk, but he's on mute on his end, I think, so.
Could we go back to Michael?
We'll go back to the next one, so.
Okay.
And this is Wallace Ward.
Wallace Ward, 300 Altus Place. Good evening. Chris, since the council recently authorized the application of the Vision Zero Complete Streets, I guess we're calling it Safe Streets program, are we able to identify any areas in this project that don't comply with those recommendations from Safe Streets?
I'm not prepared to answer that question, Wallace. However, there's a lot of components of Complete Streets that are included in this. But a full analysis of that has not been completed.
Okay, yeah, I'm just thinking that's something we should undertake so that the council has an opportunity to either amend the project to include those things, or will, green light it to continue without those enhancements. One other thing, and I didn't expect you to be able to answer that question immediately, but I just think it's something we should have in the future as a resident. The area that I don't know how we're progressing on this because I logged in late, But Big Bend, the intersection of Big Bend and Geyer, is that fair to discuss at this point?
That's really outside of this project. The county does have a project to redo that intersection, but that is out of this project.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, since they're undergoing some redesign of that, whether we've had any significant input into things that would be preferential for the city of Kirkwood.
Yes, we have, and that would be something that would be discussed at a different time.
Okay. Okay, then to back it up, another intersection that control two actually. The Geyer Monroe Place pedestrian crossing. Do we, in terms of the east-west crossing is what I'm thinking of. I know we had some resolution on the north-south end of that, but the east-west crossing there, what is the expectation for that?
I'm unaware of any east-west crossing at Monroe Place. At Monroe.
Yeah. Yeah, so there needs to be one. Right now, we've got the barrier there. And you know, if you're either westbound from Monroe Place making your way to the park, or if you're eastbound from Geyer heading downtown in Kirkwood, there's really no appropriate crosswalk there right now for pedestrians, and I think we should take a look at that.
Okay.
Okay. I think so. Philosophically, one other point, this and then I'll let you go. The use of pedestrian control flashing beacons. Is there any, I guess, obstruction to putting those in, or objection to putting those in place other than cost?
Not at this time, Wallace. No.
Okay.
But as you saw on the presentation, we've got one in the project at Jefferson. That was due to the high pedestrian activity that we see there. Yeah.
So we don't have traffic flow on that section there at Monroe Place and Geyer.
Are you meaning pedestrian traffic?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Yeah. You know, in my mind, it's considerable. It's enough to warrant that we do something there. You know, the reason I believe that a beacon would be of value is that when people are approaching that, they're thinking mainly about the railroad crossing and not pedestrians. And so there's no way for a pedestrian to gain the attention of drivers unless they have a beacon there that they could, you know, get activated. All right, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Wallace. All right, we'll try
Try Michael again. It's still muted there, so
Still muted.
yeah, on his end.
Okay. Is there anyone else wishing?
Yeah, there's a couple others, so he may have to call in or just send a question in.
Yeah, and he can also come to our in-person meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
He cannot get it to work.
I'm allowing Fonda to talk.
All right.
Hi, my name is Fonda Fantroy Richards, and I'm at 528 Rosewood Lane. Has there been any water study on this? Because I know in previous years, anytime there was an overlayment on Geyer, it kind of flowed down our way. I mean, we were inundated with additional water as a result of the overlayment.
So the project is removing 2 inches of asphalt and replacing 2 inches of asphalt. So we're not changing the grade of the elevation of the street. If there's a specific location, I would ask that you submit that in a comment and we can investigate that further and make sure that's considered and looked at for this project.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
I'm allowing Nancy L to talk.
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you,
Hi,
Nancy.
it's Nancy Lutzo, 1208 Dubois Court. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Nancy.
Cassie. Thank you all for this. Could you maybe just go back to the slide? Well, I've got it pulled up here on my screen, but the Woodbine Geyer intersection. Could you please explain to me what is, I can't really tell from looking at the drawing what's going on here as far as traffic control. Is that no longer going to be on southbound Geyer onto westbound Woodbine? Is that no longer going to be that goofy right turn thing there right now at that little island, whatever? Because to me, I live in Kirkwoods and you know, travel through there a lot, and that has always seemed to be like an accident waiting to happen. I don't know. So is it going to be for right turn onto westbound Woodbine? You have to actually do the entire corner.
That's correct, Nancy. So in order to travel southbound on Geyer and make a right on Woodbine, traveling westbound, you would travel on the outside of that island.
Okay.
And that one of the things that does is increases sight distance from if you're coming from westbound on Woodbine, you're able to see traffic a lot better. And then it also increases safety for pedestrians with that larger island there.
Yes. Okay, good. Because when I looked at the plans, this color enhanced, which I don't have available to me at home, it wasn't really clear what's going on, but that, yes, I'm happy to hear about that. I mean, I wish there were a way of getting, I don't know what, but this is much better. And then I wonder if south of this area, and I'm sorry, I can't really point to specific locations, but I wonder about mid-block crosswalks, perhaps, because we've got a couple of stretches where it seems rather lengthy. And I know people's sort of habit of, instead of going to the actual marked crosswalk, they'll just cross in the middle of the street. So I was wondering if we've given any thought to possibly putting in some mid-block crosswalks south of this area, if that's possible.
As you can see, there are not mid-block crosswalks.
Right.
But that's certainly something that we can consider after taking in public comments.
Okay. And I don't know if you've done, you know, the sort of counts of pedestrian usage and maybe forecasting what the pedestrian usage is once we get all of these wonderful improvements going and make it better and safer for, you know, how you can kind of extrapolate to increased usage and all of that. But I was just thinking there might be possibly two opportunities for mid-block crosswalks. It would be south of this intersection that we're looking at right now, but I'm not sure exactly, because there's no like four-way intersections. It's more like what Woodard coming in, or you know, it's kind of weird, not the usual sort of right angle you know, four-way stop thing, but it's similar to the South Geyer thing where we you know drew some mid-block crosswalks to at least give that opportunity for some protection. So those were just the two couple of things that I wanted to bring up, and thank you so much for all of this. Looks great, guys.
Thank you, Nancy.
David Eagleton, I guess, has one more question. So
Sorry, I'm unmuted now. Thanks again, Chris, John, and Cassie. I have one other question, and is that, are you using pedestrian interval signals? And if not, I'd like to request that they be used.
Are you referring to the leading pedestrian interval?
Yes, that's what I said, yeah.
Okay, yes. So in the timing that at specific, at Argonne, we will be putting that LPI, the leading pedestrian interval in.
Okay, so you are then, right?
Yes, that'll be part of the programming for the signal.
Okay, that's great.
And that's what we
Congratulations.
have all in downtown Kirkwood. Yeah,
Okay, congratulations. Thanks a lot.
thank you.
There are no more hands.
All right. Well, we appreciate everyone's time. Want to reiterate that you can come to our meeting in person and speak to us face to face tomorrow from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's at the community center, 111 South Geyer, room 201. You can also look at all of our projects on the kirkwoodmo.org/projects. And we appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. I'm going to end the meeting. Thanks.
Thanks.